Okay, hello guys, it's me again, Kamisama. Ed Kamisama. Excuse me. It's 9:15 now. Still Friday, July 1st. This is part 2 of the racism in Japan of which I've experienced. Um, I went back and forth a little bit. I talked a little bit about the history, which was a short, just bland info about it. About the racism in this country. But Black Americans are not the only one that experiences racism. In fact, Chinese and Koreans experience it as well, but to a higher level. Um, Now, that's not to say that Black Americans or people of color don't experience racism in this country at all. But I've been told that it's more direct in your face towards other Asians, such as Chinese or Koreans. Um, they've even had hate speeches for Chinese and Koreans. Okay. Now, as far as black people of color or Black Americans or African Americans, Jamaican, Haitians, anything in that category as that goes, it's not in your face. I've had it pointed in my face, but it was just kind of a mean look. Okay. And I've mainly noticed it from the older generations and sometimes the soccer moms. I call them soccer moms because that's what they want to be. Mostly the women who become knocked up, and they get pregnant and they live their life in La La Land while the husband works. Now, I sometimes get those looks from them. Some people say it's because I'm a foreigner, and others say it's because I'm black. But essentially, I've done that. I've actually done a test with some of these people, a little mental test, to see how they would react towards me and one of my partners. Okay, so let's say I'm with the AOT. The AOT is Caucasian. Okay, and I'm clearly black. So we go into a restaurant, and the person approaches, Japanese. Now, the first thing this person will do is will look at the white person first, and then look at me second. Okay? And sometimes it's even worse if you're with somebody who's Japanese. I've had this experience. I've sat down at a dinner table at a restaurant. I sat down at a dinner table at a restaurant with a coworker who was Japanese. Now, the coworker decided not to order any food whatsoever, okay? But me, I decided to order a lot of food. In fact, I frequent this restaurant a couple of times. So it was just astounding to see how they would act towards me. I mean, it was weird, okay? So the waitress comes up, and instantaneously, I make the order. She turns and looks at the Japanese coworker. He puts the hand towards me and tells her to speak to me, which she then does. But when the food comes out, they decide to give all the food to the Japanese coworker, and not to me. But I ordered all of that food. So a lot of people will try to say, "Oh, it be what you think it is." And I mean, to be frank, where I come from, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, then yeah, it's probably a duck. Okay. You have people that will just try to find other ins and outs, and they will try to find an excuse as to why a person did what they did. But I've given you a straight answer, a straight excuse. It is bluntly racism or xenophobia. But there's one thing that you should not do when you come to this country, and that is do not fall into the trap of assuming. Do not make assumptions, okay? I try my hardest not to make assumptions about an individual or person until I test them first. I've had instances where, as I mentioned before, where a person would sit down, and then if they see me, they would turn their back towards me. So I give them the benefit of the doubt, but I test them, okay? And the way that I do that is I'll get up and pretend that I'm getting ready to leave. And I'll give that person 5 minutes to see what they do. If they reseat themselves and face and turn themselves sideways as if they're sitting correctly and not sitting sideways, weird and noticeable, then I know it has something to do with me. If I say racist or shabetsu, I think it's sabetsu. I think, correct way to say it is sabetsu. If I say sabetsu and they get a reaction, then I know it had something to do with me. So that's usually how I do it. I tend to trick them into setting themselves up to make a bigger fool out of themselves. I just acknowledge them halfway. When they do something foolish, they go out of their way to do something that extreme. I go out of my way to say something about how immature and childish it is. Okay? Now, let's see. We talked about the history. About Caucasian love. Let's get into that category. Caucasian love. The white savior complex, the white hero, the white man being the all-knowing, the mighty, whatever. It is so cringeworthy here. It is really cringeworthy here. It's an obsession. It truly is an obsession. There's this one comedian. His jokes are not funny. His jokes are really not funny. And I mean, I'm not the only one that will agree to this, okay? But every person in this country loves this comedian, all because he says 2 words. That's his hook. Is these 2 words? And I mean, he's your typical run of the mill everyday guy. Okay, he seems that way. Okay, but he's not funny. He's not at all. He's definitely not funny. Okay, but everybody quotes him, and mind you, he's a white guy. He's a white guy, and they eat up everything he says. Okay, now let's talk about the girls. Now in America, we have women who are voluptuous, thick, who have big breasts, butts, everything. White, Caucasian American, Black American, Latino, some Asians. Okay, you have thick women. Okay, but in this country, the idea for the standardized beauty of a white woman would be this frail, slimsy, fuzzy hair, nerdy, geeky-looking twig that puts on a basket of makeup and spritzes on babes in cologne, and that's considered pretty and attractive. As long as she has blonde hair, white teeth, white skin, she's on the top list of being super attractive. And I'm not. I know this may come off a little negative, okay, to some people. But if you get offended by this, then clearly you're not truly listening to what I'm saying. This is about how they are obsessive with just all things that are white. Now, not every Japanese person in general, but Europeans have a big influence in this country. And I mean, if you come to this country, you will see what I am talking about. Okay. Now let's see. Oh yeah. Now all foreigners experience some kind of racism. Okay, some kind of discrimination. You're gonna experience that in this country. Okay, white, Latino, Chinese, Korean, African, Haitian, anything, you're gonna get it. Okay. Now, just because they have an obsession with white culture and all things that are European, it doesn't mean that white people are excluded from the same kind of racism, okay? It may be, how can I put this? I'll say white Americans get maybe 20 or 30%. Nah, I think I'll change that. I'll say it like this. You're a foreigner first, okay? And then, if you're white, it's a little okay. I know that if you can wrap your head around it, your mind around it, okay? But if you're black, then you're going to get it worse, okay? Now, it's not everybody, okay? It's not every Japanese person, okay? I've had some great experiences in this country, and I have met some very down-to-earth people, some cool people. And I'm going to go into that in my next segment, okay? I'm going to talk about that in my next segment. But to be frank, the racism here is incredibly childish. It is incredibly ignorant. And it is uncalled for. I've never in my life, being in the States, had any white woman see me walking towards them and then stop everything that they do and cross the street just because they see me walking on the same sidewalk as them. I have never experienced that in my life until I came to this country, okay? The sitting beside you on the seat, I've never had to experience that. Now, police harassment, yes, I've experienced that in both countries. But in this country, it's a polite version of it, meaning they'll knock on your door and come and talk to you, ask you questions. How old are you? It's not in a stern way. It's more like, hey, so you like to work out? Okay, you like to do this? You like to do that? How old are you? Yeah, where are you from? They start a general conversation to gather information from you. And they'll write the information down and then say, oh, sumimasen, I'm sorry, you're going outside. It also depends on the police officer, because there are some police officers in this country that will harass you, okay? They can do anything they want to you, and you don't have a say-so. In fact, you don't have any rights in this country, okay? I was living in Soma City, okay? I just got my international license, and I've been driving in this country for 2 years now, okay, until now. But I have been driving in this country for 2 years. Okay, I had my car. I loved it. It was nice. Until one Saturday, this is the whole xenophobic system working against me. I was walking. No, excuse me. I wasn't walking. I was going to 7-Eleven, okay? They have 7-Elevens here. Their convenies are magical. They're amazing. You have to go and try one, okay? But I was going to a 7-Eleven conveni. It was a Saturday morning. I had planned to go to Uniqlo to buy some stuff. Uniqlo is a Japanese company, okay? And as I was pulling out of the driveway, cops came and stopped me, okay? They asked for my driver's insurance card, okay? I didn't have it. So I had to go all the way back to my apartment with them, okay? They were kind in that regard, okay? They didn't arrest me on the spot. They didn't do that, okay? But the attention deserved no merit. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Just living my life. Being a law-abiding citizen, okay? So, I went to my apartment. I found my stuff. Gave it to him. One officer was talking to me, and another officer was on the phone. Okay, they were going through my things, talking, and then, just I got a okay after about 45 minutes. Okay, everything is okay. But then they said, well, after today, after Saturday, you cannot drive. So I could no longer drive. Okay, I could no longer drive. They told me I could no longer drive for the whole not even half of the year. For the rest of the year, my car was gone, and for no reason. They wouldn't tell me why. They just said that suspicious activity with other foreigners is the reason why I can't drive a car anymore. Okay, so I opted to get my license, but I just saw it as a scam to kind of dupe me out of money, because essentially you have to take your driver's license maybe 4 or 5 times before they actually pass you, and they can fail you for any reason, not because of your driving. Your driving could be perfect, and they will still fail you. Okay. So I just decided to bike it. Okay. Now, mind you, before I was checked by the police, not too long ago, my first couple of weeks in Soma City, as I was running past the police station in broad daylight, mind you, a police officer walked out of the gate and said, "Halt." He put his hand in my face and stopped me. Asked for my passport and all my information. Okay? They will do that. You're a foreigner, they will do that. They could have a bad day and they see you, and if they trip and fall, they can pull you over, stop you, and ask for your passport. If you don't have your passport, you will be deported back to the States or to whatever country you come from. Okay? So have your passport on you at all times. Make sure you have it on you at all times. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah, the racism here, it's tough. The racism here is pretty tough. But I mean, it's an experience. It is my experience, okay? It's what I've encountered. So just know, when you come to this country, you're not safe, okay? You're not going to get away from that kind of rate. You're not going to get away from it, especially if you're black. You're not going to get away from it, okay? In fact, you will experience some discrimination amongst your fellow foreigners too. I've had Brazils, I've had Hispanic Latinos, I've had Africans. They shun, they don't look, they don't wave, they don't say anything, they ignore you, they walk by you. If they see you, they don't say anything. I've had Caucasians, of course. I've had them do the same thing. But I'll go out on a limb and say that there are a lot of good people in this country. There are a lot of good people out here. There's some real down-to-earth guys. There's some cool cats from America that will talk to you, socialize with you. So what I say, I don't want you to take it in a negative context. I've been here for almost 3 years now, and it's just the nostalgia has worn off. So I see the truth, the real, okay? But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave some comments. Not negative comments, guys, because I will block you. They can be intellectual, discuss. Let's go into it. Let's talk. Yeah, and yeah, you guys have a good night.